Good afternoon, loves, and welcome to the Inspire with Shika My'Chelle show. I am your host, Shika My'Chelle, founder and CEO of 501c3 nonprofit organization, Beautifully Unique Incorporated, and owner and CEO of inspirational brand Inspired by Shika My'Chelle. Now, I was not here last week, so there were some things we were going to do. Hey, Trey, there were some things that we were going to discuss last week, a little weekend roundup of some pretty great events that happened on January 18th. And because I was not here, I'm still going to briefly discuss those because it is important to... Hey, Mama Fran. I'm lagging over here. I can see it in the thing. I'm backed up. However, again, we are live. I did not realize that we were live yet, but we are. So if you have on January 18th, which is 2 Saturdays ago, I had the privilege of being one of the media correspondents for the Islip Town Branch NAACP event, the Anatomy of Prejudice, with anti-racism activist Jane Elliott. That was held at the Marriott in Melville. And it was a pretty awesome event. And this is before February, you know, Black History Month. A lot of the things that we will be discussing on today's show, it was not planned for it to be about color, racism, prejudice, those type of things. That was not the intention or the plan, but you know, God is the best of planners, and it just kind of all merged together and happened that way. So if you have the pictures for the event. Did you forget that? Okay. It's gonna pull up some pictures. So if you are on this page, good afternoon, Lady Obi, as well as Trey. Welcome, welcome, welcome. In the second half of today's show, I have the honor and the privilege of speaking to Prophet Joseph Browne, who is my DHCC brother, Destiny House Christian Center. I'm really excited about that. He'll be phoning in within in the second half of the show, so stay tuned to hear what he has to say. If you know him, you know it is always a good time. I don't know what's going to happen when our personalities get together, but I'm super excited about that. But getting back to the event, the Anatomy of Prejudice, it was an event that I feel like everyone needed to witness. Something that if schools can afford, they need to bring this presentation in because it's still so relevant, and we learned so much that we had not been taught as African Americans. And Jane Elliott is fearless, and aside from her being fearless, she's unapologetic, and that's refreshing in, you know, today's time, where you can just be honest and not really be worried about the consequences, and not honest in a negative way where, you know, you're hurting someone with your honesty. But it's awesome to have someone that sees racism and that can speak on our behalf in a manner that we simply cannot as African Americans. And one thing that I loved is she said, biracial doesn't exist. We are all members of the human race. And I thought that that was pretty awesome, you know. But aside from that, she also mentioned that we need to be taught rights, respect, and responsibility. And that was something that really stuck with me, because I think that us as a people of color, we really, it's not that we don't see color, but I think that we're more embracing. Rob, do you have your mic on? Okay. I think that as a people, we're a little more accepted. We're more prone to accept other people for who they are, as opposed to, you know, the color and things of that nature. I don't know what you think about that, because we discussed off air about Miss Jane Elliott.
Yes, I remember meeting her a while ago, and she was phenomenal. She was shocking.
Yeah.
She was. I mean,
the things that come out of her mouth, you're like, okay, auntie.
and some of the other folks that was in the audience were kind of of the other persuasion, colonists, and they were taken back by her truthfulness and just her. Well, I tell you.
Okay. Her honesty.
Her total honesty.
Yeah, and it was refreshing. But in sitting in the audience, I actually had the opportunity to interview her in behind the scenes, as you can see. I don't know if do you have that on? Is that on the screen? Is that on the screen or is that just here? I don't know if they see that. Okay. Okay, I had the privilege of talking to her behind the scenes. And she actually had some really awesome words for my son off camera. So there's a picture of them as well from the event. There's a lot going on. We are live. Welcome to the Inspired with Shika My'Chelle show, where anything can happen here. Is he? Okay. Thank you for watching. Can you pull up when you get a minute? There's a picture of Nasir, my son, and Jane Elliott as well. If you're watching from Church Talk Radio, you can see these pictures. If you are not on the Church Talk Radio page, you can't see the pictures. But if you are live on this page, I'll post them a little bit later. So if I have not, I don't know if I did, so that you can see them. But right here, there's a conversation that she was having off camera. That I did capture the conversation, but I will not release the media. The conversation that she's having with him because it was a little personal. But I also had the privilege of, after the presentation was over, talking to some teenage girls from Brentwood High School and the Brentwood Freshman Center. And it was really refreshing to see how passionate these young girls were. And I said to them that they are the voice of this generation. The fact that they were so fired up behind what it is that they saw and what it is that they had heard really made me proud because they had a lot to say. I believe if you are subscribed to the Inspired with Shika My'Chelle's YouTube page, you can go there and you can look at the interview that I did with them as well as the interview with Miss Jane Elliott on the YouTube page, the Inspired with Shika My'Chelle show YouTube page. All of that is on that particular page. But also, I want to talk quickly about just how awesome God is, how he will put you in the right place at the right time and you don't even know it. Because I was doing media at this event and we all had gotten an itinerary of where to be at the particular times to stay on schedule. And my son and I had gotten there at 7:30 as opposed to 8:30 because we wanted to be early and be able to, we wanted to be early and get in and set up. So we were behind the room, and I forgot that Felicia Moss, who is amazing, she had told me where Jane Elliott was going to be coming out to come into the media section, and I really forgot about it. And then we were sitting packing up and to go into the actual room where she was going to do the presentation, and she comes out of the door. No media is there yet. It's just my son and I, and we were able to have a conversation with her aside from, oh, thank you. Welcome, Sherelle. We were able to have a conversation with her before everyone else was able to have a conversation. If you notice I'm getting distracted, people are popping up on both screens, so forgive me. We are live, and I'm trying to greet you as I see you come on, but we are live on my personal page as well as live on Church Talk Radio, and I just wanted to be able to say hello to all of you, but it's a little impossible because I'm getting distracted. So I'm just going to welcome you here again. Rob, don't laugh at me. Don't laugh because it's a lot going on, and I'm trying to keep up with these wonderful people that are viewing, but they want to have conversations, and I can't have conversations and stay on task. But another awesome thing that happened on January 18th is I actually at the Holy Trinity Baptist Church in Amityville, I was honored. I was not able to be there, but this is actually the plaque that they gave me. I just got this. I thank God for Sister Angie Davis for standing in the gaps for me. I was actually at the NAACP event doing their media, so I could not be there to accept the award myself. This is my Grammy. I could not be there to accept the award myself, but I would like to thank God, who is the head of my life. Without him, I am nothing. No, let me stop. Seriously, seriously though, it was a blessing to be recognized for, just my sacrifice and my commitment to community and the youth. So I want to publicly, I did so on my Facebook page, but we are live right here on this Inspired with Shika My'Chelle show. So I want to say thank you to Dr. Shelton, Deacon Davis, and the whole scholarship ministry for acknowledging me and recognizing me for my efforts. This has been a little long road, but I'm grateful for everyone that has supported thus far. Yeah, that. So we know, and Rob, Sunday was a little rough, a little shocking.
More shocking than
rough. More shocking than rough. Let's be clear and tell the truth. It was very shocking. As you guys know, Kobe Bryant, NBA champion Kobe Bryant. I'll put some respect on his name. His daughter Gianna, as well as it was 9 people total, were in a helicopter crash, and I remember we were actually at church at the time when the report started. We had a church meeting after church, a membership meeting, and I remember my son texted me and he said, Kobe died. And I asked him, who's Kobe? Because not that I didn't know who Kobe Bryant was, but I thought maybe Kobe was maybe his friend's dog or something, and he was trying to, I did not, because I would have never, not that death is not guaranteed, I just did not see that one coming, that it was going to be Kobe Bryant, the basketball player. But I remember we're all sitting in the meeting, and I look at it, and TMZ was the only person reporting it at the time. So I remember telling him, okay, but don't panic because it's TMZ. Now when you start seeing, CNN, ABC, NBC, yeah, CBS. When you start seeing other news reporting it, then we have something, to talk about. And then all of a sudden, I saw CNN had posted it. Before you know, everybody is getting the alert on their phone. We're in a membership meeting at church, and everybody is now like, this is not. But what's crazy is my pastor, 2 weeks in a row, was having a conversation, my apostle. We were talking about Kobe Bryant as well as LeBron. So it was crazy that was something she didn't say anything about him passing, but we were talking about legacy. And that was 2 weeks in a row, and we were having this discussion Tuesday, to be exact, at our life application class on Tuesday. But I think one thing for me, I understand that Kobe was the celebrity, out of everyone. He was the celebrity. But I think what we need to remember as a people is those other lives were significant as well. And I think that we are focused so much on him because of who he was.
As his celebrity.
As his celebrity, and not realizing that there are families, just like his family, that are grieving loved ones. And there were children on that plane, and I think that is what affected me the most. It was deeper than it being Kobe Bryant. immediately as a mother, it went to, oh my gosh, you're not just burying now a husband, you have to bury your child. And there was also a family on that, the Altobelli, I believe, the John Altobelli. He was the head baseball coach in was that Orange Coast College, and he had his wife and their daughter. Now, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, I believe they had. I believe I read that they had 2 other children.
Yeah.
So here, a son and a daughter, right?
So between them, with Kobe, and there's a father who has 3 little children, and his wife was on that plane because she's actually the assistant coach to Kobe, coaching that team.
Okay, so that was Christina Mauser or something like? Okay, so she had children as well. There was also a mother and a daughter, Peyton Chester. She was a basketball player. And her mom, Sarah, was on that flight.
Too.
Yes. So we're factoring in, there are families that are devastated. And I'm one of those people, I understand in being in media, that there is a job to do. But I also believe in having a heart. And I feel like you can't put a price tag. Grief is something that you can't take away from a person. There's nothing that you can do to help that person. There's nothing you can say.
Nothing you can do. I mean, you know what? It's always, people always, when they have a death in the family, you have people coming out of the woodworks that you see in church every day, but they won't say hello to you on Sunday. But I'm being honest.
No, it's the truth.
But when a death automatically comes to you or another member, but then all of a sudden, oh, I'm so sorry to hear. You have my deepest condolences, but you ain't even say hello to me last Sunday.
Exactly.
And I'm not a person for falsehood. Okay, and I'm far from it. If I don't speak to you on Sunday, I ain't speaking to you Monday through the rest of the week.
Here it is. If you will walk, and I'm sorry, it might not be Christ-like, so don't judge me. If you will walk past me in the street and not speak, don't send me a friend request on social media. The answer is no.
I know.
The answer is no. We can't be friends on social media if you won't even stop to say hello when you pass me in the store. I have people that send me friend requests that I have seen out that have not said 2 words to me, and I'm like, so you've seen me in real life, but you want me to allow you to come into my virtual world.
No type of acknowledgement in the real world,
Yeah.
but they want to be in the virtual world with you. And I don't understand, and just like you said, you see me out every day in real life, but you won't take the time to say hello, good morning, or whatever the case, but you want to hit me up online and, us to check. No, that doesn't work.
I'm not interested. One thing that I pray that there are 2 things. I think that people, because as we've been seeing with this Kobe story, it has shattered the hearts of the NBA because of who he was, the magnitude of who he was as an athlete. Hey, Prophet. The magnitude of who he was as an athlete. I feel like, can we get the cameras out of the players' faces? Right. Can we allow them to grieve? Like, can we stop pretending that they are not human with real feelings? And can we allow them the privacy to grieve? Like, I'm so tired of seeing this one fell apart. What did you expect them to do? This is real life for them.
Exactly. And I mean, not to, take any shine off of that, but I remember when I was in school and we had a person from the team pass away unexpectedly. And it came to a shock to us all in school.
Yeah.
And we had a game that night. We physically could not play that game. We was done.
because it's real life. I think one of the downsides about social media is I think there's really a lack of heart. You know, people have gotten accustomed to saying whatever they want to say because it's,
They're behind the scenes.
You're behind the scenes. And I think that we forget that real life is really happening to people. The fact that I read that Vanessa found out about this through TMZ. How is it that you didn't even allow
proper
authority to do their job before you release them? Like, can you, as a mother, I can't even fathom what that feels like. I've buried a spouse. I knock on wood, God knows, just skip over me just a little while longer with death. I'm not telling you what to do, but please. But to have gotten that news at the same time as everyone else, the first thing that I said is, and this is not to sound cliche, is I pray that she has a real relationship with God. Because in having gone through so many deaths in such a short period of time, I can honestly say that was the thing that was able to sustain me. That was the thing that was able to pull me through. Why some people that have gone through way less, turn to drugs and alcohol. That was not my reality. That wasn't what I chose to do. And that really had a lot to do with my relationship with God and kind of understanding that I don't get to know why. That, we can ask why all day, but the reality is sometimes it just doesn't make sense to us.
A lot of people would like to say, like, if you found out your spouse or your mother or father or stuff just passed away and you're just finding out about it. A lot of people, kind of like would be, some people get upset. Some people start, wondering what happened, why, and all this other kind of stuff. But the majority of people are saying, some people that are going through it, they have this period of where it just washes over them. And they're trying to remember what the last thing I said to my spouse or to my mother or to my father or to my sister, brother.
Yeah.
What is the last thing I said to them before this happened? Was we upset with each other? Did I say I love you? Because when you start going through this, you might feel emotional or upset with yourself.
That's right.
Because you don't want to be that. You don't want to be that person or have that memory that I didn't say I loved you.
I think that is the difference. I say this all the time. Between grief and guilt.
Yes.
See, when people see me, they're often baffled by the fact that I'm still standing. They're like, how come when I see her? Because I really think that when they see me, they expect me to be falling apart and have puffy eyes. But in every death that I've experienced, whether it was my grandfather, my ex-husband, or my mom, one thing that I am most proud of is we always told each other, I love you. Like there was no, I know in my heart of hearts that when they were alive, I did everything that I could have done for them. No, we didn't always see eye to eye. We didn't always get along. But when it came down to it, we was thick as thieves.
I love you.
Okay? He was my ex-husband. And we would talk all the time. People didn't even realize that we were divorced because we were together all the time. But we had a child. And we were mature enough to know that the love we had for him superseded anything that we might have felt for each other. But he was at my house the day before he passed. The day before he passed. And we talked on the phone and text each other up until almost midnight. So when you hear here today, gone tomorrow, that was my reality. And I think that that's what molded me to want to have conversations with people, not to leave things unresolved. Like if I feel like I've offended you or things are not sitting right with people that I care about, I would rather have a conversation, because I don't want it to get to a place where, because we are guaranteed death.
Nothing left unsaid.
Nothing left unsaid. You don't want to then that person be gone, and now you're thinking about all the things that you should have said, that you could have said while you had time. That's where guilt comes in. Guilt's something that doesn't sit well in your belly.
Exactly.
You know, that guilt is the thing that when you see people still walking around falling apart, you know, they allowed pride to get in the way of actually having adult conversations, or simply just picking up the phone and saying, I love you. I'm sorry.
My mom always had this saying, and it always used to make me laugh. But she always said, if you didn't bring me flowers while I was alive, don't give me flowers when I'm gone.
Okay.
And when I was a kid, I really never understood it fully. But when I became more of an adult, I started realizing what she meant by that. And it tickles me to death till this day when I see people do certain things, and I'm like, these people didn't talk at all or do this and that,
and are falling apart at the casket,
and want to jump right in with you.
That's right. And this is what, and we're not a perfect people. We go through things, but that's why I've learned, like, I'm a lot more emotional than I was. Unfortunately, death is not one of those things that makes me emotional anymore after having had experience so many in a short period of time. I'm kind of like the wrong person to come to. If you need the strength, come to me. If you need the full apart factor, I'm the wrong one to give it to you. I'm like, okay, so what would you like to do? Like, let's come up with a plan and get it together. I'm the focus. I'm the planner.
You're laser focused on this thing now.
I'm the planner. But what time is it? Because that's not counting down.
It's 3:30.
3:30? Mm-hmm. Okay. Because we do have Prophet Joseph Browne coming on in a few minutes. Is he? Okay, he will be calling in a few minutes, so we will be having a conversation with him. I couldn't tell, so I kept trying to see my phone on the low. But before we do that, I want to, before we get into Prophet Joseph Browne, who is always a blessing, if you do not know him, I am going to have him back, though. We're going to make sure our schedules align so that I can have him back to actually sit down and have an interview with him, so that you guys can get to know who Prophet Joseph Browne is. But on today, we're going to have another conversation. But first, I want to go to our sponsors. The Inspire with Shika My'Chelle show is sponsored by Allstate Insurance Company agency owner Jermaine Matthews. Please, if you are looking for an awesome insurance agent, look no further. Please contact Mr. Matthews and his team for all of your insurance needs at 516-941-1641. Again, that is 516-941-1641. Is he's ready and rolling? Oh, yeah. I don't know. Am I able to hear him? Or you
should be able to hear him.
Okay. I just want to, so I'm going to welcome Prophet Joseph Browne from the Destiny House Christian Center to the Inspire with Shika My'Chelle show. Are you there, Prophet?
Prophet.
Yes, I am. Hello, Lady Shika. How are you, dear?
I am awesome. How are you?
I'm okay. I'm hiding right now so that I can keep my job, but I wanted to be sure to call in and support you.
I thank you for putting your skills to, and hiding so that you can call into the show. We have Prophet Joseph Browne calling in from Destiny House Christian Center. Prophet and I, as well as a few other people, went to see Just Mercy. You have the picture up there of that, Rob? You have the picture of, it's a group of people in front of the movies. We actually went, a bunch of us from Destiny House Christian Center. We went to see Just Mercy as a church family, and we were going to have this dialogue last week about the movie, our thoughts, without giving away too much for those of you that are watching that have not seen it. So I will say this, it was phenomenal. The acting in the movie was phenomenal. Prophet, I want to throw to you though, because I want to I want to know your thoughts. We did go together, and it was something that I couldn't sit through the entire. You good?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, I was just I couldn't sit through the entire movie. I found myself personally getting up a few times to walk out of the movie theater because some things I just couldn't handle. But I'm gonna ask you, what was your overall take on Just Mercy?
Well, first, thank you so much for inviting me on.
Awesome.
I am still, to answer your question, still moved by what I saw. I was not even aware of this historical event. I was sitting next to one of our deacons, Deacon Coach, we all know him as Coach.
Yeah.
And I just felt the ask. I said, was this a real live? And he was like, yeah. And he said, like, yeah, like, stop talking so I can watch the movie. You know, like, I was watching it, and I got angrier and angrier and angrier because there was a scene. Well, we don't want to give out the movie. There was a certain scene. Well, first I want to give kudos to the stars, Michael B. Jordan, and who played the Harvard lawyer that graduated from Harvard.
Yes.
And Mr. Jamie Foxx.
Oh, they were amazing.
Who played Mr. Walter Macmillan. I think their acting skills was phenomenal.
Yes.
I could not imagine having to do to do this and portray these great men and stay in character to do the part. I was just amazed. And of course, there was a certain scene when the lawyer went to see his client.
Yeah.
And what he had to do.
Prophet?
That took me out.
Prophet?
I mean, really, you are a lawyer and still seen as, and I don't want to use the N-word.
As an N-word.
But there is a mentality that we are still in. Now, this movie portrayed it in the time that it was in. I think it was like the late 80s, early 90s.
Yeah, I believe it was 1987, I believe. Right? 1987.
Yeah, because I was still in high school. That's why I know I was still in high school based on the year.
I was 7.
I think I had just graduated or something like that. But what got me was the fact that I'm looking at it. It's a great movie. I'll tell anyone, black, white, whomever, whatever race or creed, color, go see the movie.
Yes.
See where history is still repeating itself. And I say repeating itself because we're still in, this is the year 2020. We just moved into 2020.
That's right.
And I still feel like I have to watch everything I say, everything I do, every transaction I have, particularly with Caucasian and particularly Caucasian white women. As you know, I'm a big man, and to this day, I tend not to walk directly behind Caucasian women, and that's I shouldn't feel that way. Because, it's looked. I know people may take it as a negative, but I've seen what has happened. My own brother, he went to the store, and this was years ago. What do you call those things? The worms, the worm candy.
The gummy worms.
He, in ignorance, got like $2 or $3 worth of these candy worms, and the guy, it's the bodega that gave him a brown paper bag, and he walked out the store with this little brown paper bag, and the cops translated it as he was carrying drugs.
Oh, goodness.
And they just swooped down, and I happened to be looking out the window because the store was across the street, and I saw the cops coming down from the other avenue, and I knew they was coming from our brother. And so I just ran out the front door, and all they saw was a black male.
That's
all
right.
they saw.
That's right.
And my brother at the time wasn't smart either because he's running his mouth. You know, public enemy number one.
Oh,
you
Lord.
I said, boy, if you don't shut up. And those cops, you know, unfortunately, and I'm not going to bash cops. I don't want to do that either.
Yeah.
But what I want to speak to is there is still a strong presence of nationalism,
Yes.
racism, and prejudice against the black community, and particularly, in my opinion, black men.
Agreed.
You know, I have a master's degree. I work for it. I have a decent job. I live in a decent neighborhood. But at the end of the day, none of that matters. I can save a life. I can go out to the Hudson River and part it on both sides. But at the end of the day, there are still individuals that see me in a derogatory sense based on my skin color.
Very
and it
true.
is offensive. It is so disheartening. And when I'm finding out, Lady Shika, that even some of our own, in our own culture, there are some black male and female that are agreeing that, you know, subliminally agreeing with this demonic agenda to turn back the hands of time.
Yes.
To circumvent all the progressions that we have made. I've noticed in the past 10 years there's a lot of emphasis on the positivity of what we as the African American community has contributed. And it's being overshadowed by those individuals who are not doing the right thing. That's magnified. I can go out right now. I mean, literally go outside right now.
Absolutely.
And save somebody from a burning building with my bare hands, take out a whole family.
That's right.
And that story probably won't get on the news as quickly as a black man robbing a convenience store.
But if it does get on the news, it won't be in the manner that it really happened. Here it is. They'll probably try to dig up something in your past, and they will say an ex-drug dealer saved a family from a burning building.
Right.
But why not be a drug dealer, though?
But, well, you know, Prophet, you're right. You know, sorry. You know, but that. No, he said, why I got to be, you know, I didn't want to call you a murderer. You know, I was, man of God, I was trying to, you know, you know, but.
I know, I love you too.
That,
I ain't got no record, just for the record, I ain't got no record. I was the one that did all the right things. I was perfect.
See?
All my life.
But that, you know, that's one of the things, like even, as you know, after we went to see the show, I actually had posted on my social media asking some of the members from the church and people that had watched the show, the movie, to kind of give me their thoughts on what they thought. And what was funny is even piggybacking off what you said, there was like Renita commented something about you are guilty from the moment that you were born, which was something that was touched on in the movie, which piggybacks on what you're saying. It's sad that us as a people of color, regardless of, as you just said, what our background is, what our education is, we are still seen as just an N-word. And as you as a black man, as you said, you don't like to walk down the street behind a black, a white, Caucasian woman.
Yes.
Guess what? As a black woman, I have the same issue. When I am walking down the street, I absolutely, and coming from where I am in the neighborhood that I live now, you know, I grew up in Wyandanch. I'm not in Wyandanch currently. I'm in another town where it is a lot of Caucasians. And I find myself, and this is not just in this community, I try to fall back. When they're walking in front of me, I try to walk further back so I'm not as close, you know, because we tend to spook them for some reason. And that's crazy, where I have a black son who grew up in Wyandanch, but he went to school with a diverse, a diverse bunch of people going to Half Hollow Hills East. But he's not comfortable in the neighborhood that we're in because he's not comfortable with the faces that he sees around him. And that's crazy to me, coming from somebody who I grew up in a household where we loved all people. We didn't really, it's not that we didn't see color. I mean, I can clearly see that you're a white person. But color didn't define how we were going to treat you. And unfortunately, that's not the case in the upbringing of some others. That's not to say that all Caucasians are created equally. That's just saying that.
No, I agree to that.
And there's a short cue that where my great-great-grandparents grew up out, which is out East Long Island. And back then there was, nothing but sharecroppers and, all that kind of stuff going on out there. But recently, a couple of months ago, I went out because my dryer broke and I had to go to a local dryer and dry my clothes. And there was a white woman, elderly white woman in there. And she looked at me and she started talking. And she asked me where I lived, and I told her where I lived. And then she said, well, what family are you connected to? And I told her I'm connected to the Valentine family. And she said, Emma Valentine? And I said, yes. I said, that's my great-great-grandmother. And she goes, your family was so nice to my family. We never had anything. They were poor white people. And we would go down to your family and we would eat. And your great-great-grandmother would give us clothes to wear and food to eat. This is a black family against a white family who had, and they lived, in a neighborhood, but they were, better people. But they were still poor, according to the standards.
That's right.
Okay, but my family was taking care and looking after their family, and she said your family was so nice to our family, I will never forget them. And she said, I am so glad that I met you.
But you know what? That is who we are as a people. You keep looking at this small bunch of people that are doing the wrong things. But as a whole, that is really who we are as a people, because that is what we've been taught. Like those of us that come from a lineage of that great-grandmother where they took care of community, the village mentality.
Exactly.
That is who we are. Coach.
I think those days.
Go ahead. I'm listening.
I think those days kind of fizzled out now.
Yes.
I love the story that was just shared. I look at, as you were talking, sir, I was thinking about, and unfortunately, I don't know why it flashed, but I remembered this was in Harlem, and this was at nighttime. This lady, I don't know if she was white. She was I think she was Hispanic. I can't remember, but I know she wasn't black American. However, she was walking down the street, and this particular, where I used to live in Harlem, it was a dark street, very long avenue, dark street. However, we was walking in the same direction. She dropped her, I don't know what you call them, those little wallets that you women tend to wear with the little beads on the top to close it shut. She dropped it and didn't realize it, so I picked it up, and I said, Miss. And all she saw was a tall guy, and she literally took off running.
Oh.
And I just stood there in shock, and my first instinct was to go through her wallet and go shopping because I was so angry. But that was why I said, okay, so if you think I stole, let me go do it. But, the whole notion that you just can't. So I didn't run necessarily, but I walked kind of fast. And she got caught by the light. She got caught. It's a huge intersection where it was. So she didn't know what to do, and so she was literally gasping. And I got to her closer, but I didn't stand like right up on top of her. I said, "Miss, you dropped your wallet."
My God.
And she's looking at me. I said, "Miss, do you understand what I'm saying?" So I had to open the wallet,
My
pull out
God.
her ID, and call her by her name before she understood that I wasn't trying to rob her.
Wow.
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 You know how insulting that is?
Absolutely. Absolutely, because here it is. They only see black face. Now, here it is. You were, instead of, see, I take it back. It wasn't the drug dealer that they were going to tell you about the story. It was a thief. No. No, but here it is. You could have, had you not been honest, you could have taken that money out the wallet and went on about your business. But again, that goes back to who we are as a people. We're not all, even in having nothing. I'm the type of person, and I've never been a thief. Unfortunately, I've never been a liar either. So that tends to get me in trouble sometimes. But, you know, in having the type of background that I did and coming up with my grandmother, like I had a great foundation with my grandmother, my grandparents, and my mom. So my first instinct is to give, because that is what I know. You know, that's what I know. So when people, it does hurt when people just see your color and they assume that you're something that you're not. I have gone to a political event and was standing talking to a Caucasian person at this particular event. It was an elected officials event. And I was talking to this Caucasian person, and he asked me where I was from. And I said, "Oh, I'm from Wyandanch." And he looked at me, and this was about 3 years ago. And he looked at me, and he said, "Really? They make people like you there?" And, you know, the unsaved side of me wanted to say one thing, but then I had to realize that, unfortunately, we as a people have to carry that on our backs, that because there is a negative connotation associated with us as African Americans, we have to be that African American that they can say, "Oh, well, not all black people are like this," because I met this one person, and that's unfortunate that we have to carry that. But by the time I was done with that man, he was blown away. Like, he was blown away, and he did not believe that I was from Wyandanch because I spoke properly and because I didn't look like what the media said we look like. But what you're not understanding is there are more hardworking people that are doing the right thing in Wyandanch and in Amityville and Roosevelt and Freeport and in these communities that have this negative connotation associated with us than there are the people that are not. So as you said in the top of the, you know, you coming on, unfortunately, it is 2020. And we are still, as far as we think that we've come as a people, I think, unfortunately, under this presidency, we're realizing that we have been duped. We have not come as far as we really thought that we did. Not that we thought racism...
We got to do a lot more.
Yes, not that we thought that racism was no longer... but I think that we believed that all of our education and our credentials meant that we had come a little further as a people. They still see us.
You mean 45? That the one who said, "Black people love me. They love me. They come out in groves.
Yeah.
They love what I do for them."
Yeah, and some of his best friends are black.
I've never seen
Me either, but that's what they say. You know, it's funny because what I just said, one of the people, Coach, as we call him at Destiny House Christian Center, Michael Anderson, he had actually posted under the question about Just Mercy, what I just said, we have come so far, but what have we gained? And that really stuck out to me because we think, you know, that here it is because we are allowed, quote unquote now, to live in decent neighborhoods, because we are allowed proper education.
That's the word,
allowed. Yeah, I'm putting the air quotes. You can't see the air quotes, but we are allowed to drive nice cars, to go to good schools. We are allowed these opportunities. We think in our minds that we've, I guess in some ways, made it, but not all Caucasians, because I thank my Caucasian viewers for tuning in every week, but we're having a real conversation here. And if you're here, welcome. My auntie Jane Elliott told me something different. So Google her and get to know her and learn something. But I think that as a people, we're realizing that racism really still is. And not that we didn't realize it over the course of the last few years, even with us getting killed in the street, our black men getting killed in the street like dogs at the hands of those.
Rolling, live stream, everything's rolling.
Yeah.
The cops are walking away.
And no consequences by the hands of people that took a vow, an oath to protect us. This is not a bash against police officers either. We're speaking truth and facts. We only speak facts on this show. So the fact is that there has been an alarming rate of people, and we know that there has been more over the last years, but now we've started to record these things. So things are now, there's light being shed on certain things that we can no longer turn a blind eye.
I think that there was that's where I have another problem. These are two problems that I'm having right now, even with the camcorders that the police, and I agree with you also, as a, just to say it point blank, not all police officers fit that bill. There are some law-abiding, God-fearing, decent police officers, male and female, that are doing their jobs. But unfortunately, there are a few that have just undermined what was supposed to be helped to serve and protect. I had the opportunity again with this movie, Just Mercy. It compelled me to do very little research, more than I should have done more. But just reading up on a few things, it was upsetting to me that Mr. McMillan, how he was set up. When you look at the facts, not giving away the movie, but this is just fact. You can pull this right up on his life story. Yeah. This gentleman was 11 miles away from the scene of the crime.
That's right.
They couldn't find the murderer for 6 months, and he just got pinned based on the testimony of another convict.
That's right.
Just to close the case.
Yes.
And he went to death row, and what I didn't understand, they didn't say this in the movie, this is what you can read up on I forget the name of the website, the Equal Justice Initiative website. They talked at length concerning Mr. McMillan and how even though, you watch the movie, of course he got exonerated, it took 6 years for it to happen. Yeah. He never got an apology. He never, the sheriff never got suspended, not even a slap on the wrist. He retired with all of his benefits. This Mr. McMillan, he sued, won, and got substantially less than what he sued for. And this man died, and he made a lot of strides through the Equal Justice Initiative. But besides that, I'm concerned because we still have a ways to go as a black people. I'm concerned about my future, the future generation. Even the millennials that we have now, they don't even understand the what happened. They don't understand the struggle, the civil rights movement. Everyone knows Dr. King, and great man as he is, and I am appreciative, and I thank God for Dr. Martin Luther King, because God knows I wouldn't be here.
That's right. That's right.
But there were so many others that took a stand, and what is offensive to me with millennials in particular, not just bash them, most of them have absolutely no idea of the struggle. Just to leave my house, there is no guarantee I'm going to get back.
Very true.
All it takes for somebody to say that I fit the description.
That's right.
All it takes.
That's right. And that's, you know, just piggybacking without giving away the movie. One thing that Antoinette, also from Destiny House Christian Center, what she posted was, will racism ever end? Even though the truth was told during the first hearing, he was still denied his freedom. Law, and she said, law and justice, thank God I know Jesus. But here it is. In watching the movie, and try not to give away too much of the movie, but in a particular part of the movie, he was in court, and the truth came out in court, and still, even though the judge heard the truth, it wasn't good enough. It wasn't good enough to set him free, which lets you know that wasn't their intention. Now, what I did love was the turnaround in the movie and how certain characters had the epiphany, and they woke up and realized that this is just wrong. But the reality is, why didn't you know that it was wrong in the beginning? Because we were taught right from wrong as children. Right is right and wrong is wrong. As children, we're taught right from wrong. So why is it that you didn't feel it was wrong? You looked at this black man in a car. You were more focused on the mode of transportation that he had. And you felt like there's no way that this man deserves this. We're going to take him in. He wasn't near there. He had testimony from all of the people in the community telling you where he really was. And that was not enough.
11 miles.
And that was not enough. And the reality is, you know, I think that families need to see this movie to create a dialogue about what's really happening still today. That your word may not be enough. And you know, personally, I could not watch the movie again. I watched it one time. I got up a few times because it was a little too much for me in some ways. But I'm one of those people that I do not like these kinds of movies because I can't deal. Prophet, we got to have you back because we are out of here. My God, we have to have you back on because this conversation.
I appreciate that. I want to come by for you.
I would love to have you on because we want to continue this conversation as well as getting to know who Prophet Joseph Browne is. So I will see you later on at Destiny House Christian Center. If you are not doing anything, come join us, Destiny House Christian Center. Tonight we have life applications class tonight, 7:30, 70 North Main Street on the second floor of the upper room in Freeport, New York. Join us for life applications class. And Prophet, I'm going to be talking to you. I thank you so much for joining me for this conversation.
Thank you for inviting me.
Absolutely. And I look forward to talking to you again.
Yes, ma'am.
All right. See you soon. God bless you.
Take care.
All right.
God bless.
Did you go off there? Okay, good. Just making sure. Okay, I just want to tell you, the viewers, thank you for tuning in. I'm hoping that something on today's show created a dialogue, opening for you to have with your family, with your children, especially. You know, even in the death of Kobe and those people that were on that helicopter, you know, hopefully that triggered something in you to get your affairs in order. It doesn't matter how much money we have, death is guaranteed. And make it right with your loved ones today. Tell somebody that you love them, because I think something as simple as leaving our house, to even me coming to this show, leaving my house, it's not guaranteed that I'm going to get home tonight. So, you know, I think it is important that we treasure the time that we have, because we do not know when our last day is. So I am Shika My'Chelle. This is the Inspired with Shika My'Chelle show. I thank you for tuning in, and I will see you again next Tuesday, God willing, right here on Church Talk Radio, 3 p.m. God bless you. Good day.